You should be live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes, meeting is now streaming live on Facebook. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Next Level pop-up. You never know when they're going to happen. This one started coming together, I'd say, last week on Thursday when I was on a call with my buddy Anthony Vicino here and my other friend Austin Linney, as we were discussing the book that all three of us are working on together right now, which I'm very excited because that'll be my first book. But we have some other really cool topics to cover today. I don't know if we're going to have enough time for it, quite frankly, but I wanted to do this pop-up because Anthony was telling me about a deal that he was just either closing on, or you can give us the details here in a second, Anthony, but it's always fun to bring individuals on and talk about what is actually happening in the workplace. What deals are you actually working on right now? And I know Vinky and Christopher are also working very diligently right now in their own projects as well. So I'm like, this could be a perfect time for everyone to just come out here, share a little bit about who they are, get to know each other on a public platform, kind of like Clubhouse style. And then, most importantly, talk about what it is that we're working on right now. I think something as simple as that can really take you a far way. And actually, Christopher, I relearned that from you on your 5 million in 30 days summit interview with Hunter, when you were talking about, hey, when I started putting together WealthWord, I was just telling people what I was doing. I was at, my kid's soccer game talking about, this is what I'm doing. So I am going to go in the order of, I can see clockwise here on my screen, which is Christopher, Vinky, and Anthony. I don't know if that's how it is on Facebook, but that's what I'm seeing. And I do want to start with that too, because before we hit record, Christopher was about to tell his life story. And I'm like, wait, can we get that live? So Christopher, go ahead. You're up first.
Well, yeah, we definitely don't have enough time for the life story, but I mean, if we're talking about, I think in the context of what are some of the things that we're working on right now, I'm in the process of writing a book, and this book really does speak into my experience in the technology, and it's about, trying to help technology employees understand that the greatest risk to an employee's personal wealth, especially in technology, is not knowing what they have or how to invest it, right? Because tech employees have this incredible asset. The asset is them. And what they have is they have career capital, their education, experience, and results. And the reality is that they don't realize that they're in this transaction that says, I need to actually continue to cultivate my career capital, and I actually have to invest it in the best companies possible. And so this to me is the greatest risk, is not knowing what they have or how to invest it. And so, we only have 80,000 hours. 80,000 hours is the average career. So you could argue, okay, maybe I can get a little bit more, get a little bit less, but at the end, the average is 80,000 hours. So the question is, to my technoids, are you going to compound that? Are you going to work for equity? And are you going to actually get exponential returns on your time invested working as an owner, or not? And so that's really, part of my story is, this from no-do to IPO. It's really how I ended up, I started a side hustle. Things went sideways because of the recession. I ended up broke and working for a bad boss in 2010. And I realized I actually had a valuable asset, some training and technique I had from the previous 10 years. I just had to treat it like an investment. And so that's how I became employee 417 at Splunk. That's why I'm working now at GitLab, helping them through another IPO, right? And you can find out more at my company, wealthword.com. And then, from a deal perspective right now is, I'm trying to help technology employees who are the main number of my investors get monthly recurring revenue, right? Which is, again, a technology term, into their portfolios or passive income portfolios through investing in ATMs. So we have the WealthWord ATM fund that's helping them achieve that. But those are some of the things that I'm working on, and tried to just give you a summary so we have time for everybody else.
No, I love it. And definitely, I mean, there's so many synergies here too. And I'm sure as Vinky's hearing your story, she's like, oh, yep, I'm sitting here in San Francisco. I hear exactly what you're talking about. And then even Anthony was sharing some of his experience before this. So here we go, Vinky, microphone is yours.
Thank you so much, Adam, for having me here, and nice meeting you guys both, Christopher and Anthony. I come from a strong IT background as well. I stepped into multifamily recently. I do have some commercial real estate background, and I just closed one deal on Friday. Super happy about that, and looking at a couple other deals in Houston area. So I'm super excited to be in this place. And then, like Christopher said, that your knowledge, your experience, whatever it is your asset. And then I'm trying to cash on those assets at this time. I'm leveraging my knowledge and experience, whether it's in IT project management or the business development, because these are all the transferable skills that I'm bringing into the real estate industry.
Yeah. And you just closed on a deal in Georgia, right, Vinky?
Yes, I closed a deal in Georgia, and that now I have 344 doors under my belt. So I'm super excited about it. Uh, just started in real estate. I mean, in the multifamily real estate about a year ago, or less than a year ago, about 8 months. And super excited about that. Meeting with all the different people, learning from everybody else, their stories. I think that's the biggest asset that we have in the real estate arena, that everybody has a story. And when somebody tells their story, you kind of resonate with it, learn from it, and kind of add to your story and move on to the next level. And that's what my strategy, and I love being here.
And your website is lumbainvest.com, right?
Yes, my website is lumbainvest.com. And my company name is Lumba Investment Group. I thought I mentioned that too as well.
Yeah.
But I'm in
Awesome.
California. I invest outside of California. I was just talking to Anthony a little bit earlier, I think before Christopher joined anyways, because love to invest in California, but California being not a tenant-friendly state and being super expensive. Looking outside of California, mainly in Texas, but just closed a deal in Georgia. Before that, closed a deal in Carolina. So you can say these are the markets I'm looking in: Texas, Georgia, and Carolina market. And also Phoenix is on my radar as well. So right now I'm focusing on multifamily, but hospitality as well as on my radar.
Great.
Perfect. Yeah. And I'm sure hospitality, you can probably find some good deals on those assets right now.
That's true. Yeah, given the time that we are in, I feel like, maybe it's a good time to get in right now. And eventually it's going to pick up when the restrictions are gone and people are able to travel, because everybody's kind of tired staying home, and sooner than later it's going to happen. So that industry is going to pick up at some time. So, but we'll see what happens. But right now it's on my radar. I'll see if I can get into or get a piece of it somewhere.
All right, Anthony, you're kind of the one who actually sparked this fire last Thursday when we were chatting. So you've got something going on in Minneapolis, right? Something in your backyard.
Yep. Yeah, we just closed on Friday. Let me just real quickly, Vinky, that's incredible. You've had an amazing year. So congratulations. Like, you crushed
Thank
it.
you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's really cool to hear. I think a lot of people, when they see what we do in real estate and multifamily, it can feel very daunting, but it's awesome to see that you've taken those reins and like really ridden that horse well. So good job.
Thanks.
So for me, just real quickly, background, my life has been defined by the fact that I have ADHD and I chase my curiosities. I have a hard time focusing on things that don't interest me. And so that has led me down some really interesting routes in my life. I spent some time as a full-time science fiction and fantasy author, as a professional athlete. And then at a certain point, I was invited to help a friend build a business. And that's when the entrepreneurial bug bit. And I realized a lot of the systems and habits that I had to form to control and harness my ADHD were actually a lot of systems that were really beneficial for building businesses. And so I did that for a number of years, have a couple of things on the side that I do, but recently, I would say maybe 5 years ago, I started getting really serious about real estate investing. Before that, I had been doing some fix and flips on the side and had just done some passive investing. But there was a moment where I was bit by the multifamily bug in particular. And I thought, wow, this is really cool. So I started buying apartment buildings. And at some point, a mentor came to me and said, responsibility is the price of freedom. And you do the world no favors by playing small. So what are you going to do to make an impact on the lives around you? And I was like, well, shoot, I don't know. And so I started looking at like where I could help. And with real estate in particular, like this is a really powerful investment vehicle that we're all aware of, but the general population, my brothers and sisters, I have 7 siblings, and they have no idea that this investment vehicle is out there or even available to them. So I turned and I said, okay, I can help with that. And so we started Invictus Capital, which is just a syndication group focused here in the Twin Cities. And we work with passive investors, just like my brothers and sisters, people who want to make their money work harder for them than they work for it, but they feel overwhelmed when they think about going and buying real estate on their own. So that's what we do. And the deal that we did this last week, you know, it's interesting because I think when we talk about syndications, we talk about buying really big things like 100+ units and all these like really large assets, but we've always been pretty deal agnostic. So if the numbers make sense on something smaller, which this deal was, it was only a 9-unit, so it's nice and small, then we can joint venture with one investor, take this thing down because the numbers make sense as long as it fits within the business model. And so that's something that I find really interesting is there's always this conversation of going bigger, bigger, bigger in real estate. And sometimes that means stepping over some really great small deals. So we don't like to trip over those ones. We like to pick them up.
Yeah,
I really like your background with the science fiction writing, and I think that's really what I didn't realize, but that's what brought us back together. Maybe you can connect with Christopher and talk to him because I know you've considered becoming a member of Raise Masters. Well, we won't go too deep that way, but no, Anthony's been fantastic working with Austin and I, who actually Christopher I introduced. I think you and Austin connected to. I'm not sure if you got to go on his show yet, but he's helping us like, okay, and when it comes to writing a book, you guys need to do this, this, and this. You know, forget the stories for now. Let's figure out what the chapters are going to be and then fill it in with the stories and like all these things that I know if I was starting from scratch, I just wouldn't be able to do. And I like the fact that I can say someone who was like a science fiction writer is now helping me author my first book. It seems almost like it could end up being another science fiction one. So,
I'm going to throw some lasers and robots in there for sure. Just so you know.
Exactly. So, but yeah, I mean, when it comes to writing, because Christopher, I know you've been working on yours for a while and I'm really excited to see, I know like you've been putting in so much work on that one. What's the timeline for that? Because I really think it's going to blow up once you get it ready.
Yeah. So, I mean, so the story, it's interesting is that I found out that I thought I was writing a book and then it ended up being 2 books. And so this is where I think, you know, I've been doing it writing for over 1.5 years. I'm finishing the revision on this manuscript of the first book to publish and hoping to get the physical copies ready by June. And, you know, but that's really the first part of the story. What I was writing, like my story is really this journey of going from IPO to building cash flow. And so that was really the book that I was writing. But what I realized is as I was writing that book and the beginning kept expanding is that's where, you know, and again, it's interesting, Anthony, because this whole thing came out of, you know, me wanting to lean back into my community where I see in technology, you know, nobody cares about the people that, okay, hey, you're getting these great exits, these IPOs or working for all this stuff. But the reality is that the burnout rate in technology is just as high as ER doctors, right? I mean, there's a 61% burnout rate because people get caught in this hamster wheel of working. And I wanted to be able to, as I saw this road out, as I saw this opportunity of how do I build financial independence through passive investing, I wanted to pay that forward and really give that back to the community. But I had to show them first, actually, how do you actually learn how to invest your time and talent? And so that's how then it came the first book, No Dough to IPO, which is my story too.
It's interesting, Chris. I don't know if you're familiar with Naval Ravikant, but he talks about how it's better to get rich in one big lump sum rather than getting, you know, slowly rich over time, because then your quality of life doesn't also scale as quickly. But one of the downsides then is like in this IPO environment, if all of a sudden you go from like making good money to suddenly being like ostensibly rich, but you don't know what to do with that money. Now you have a real issue because now you're like, oh, what do I do?
100%. And so there's a couple interesting things there is what I've experienced myself. Like, I mean, in the IPO day, April 19th, 2012, a day that changed my life, my wife's life forever, is I didn't realize that after the joy of the day, when I came home and I shared with my wife, you know, hey, here's where we are financially. And her simple question of, okay, when do we actually get our hands on the money? And when can we buy the house? Because we were pregnant at the time. I went to this point of fear and depression. And as I talk now, as I've been writing the book and getting other people's stories, I'm not alone, and people won't talk about that, but you have this event that should be so amazing, creates a lot of fear and anxiety because you don't know who to trust and you don't know what to do next, but you feel and you know like you have to do something, like you have to protect it somehow. And so, you know, and the interesting thing is what I found coming out of that is that generally three things usually happen to people. They either don't do anything, so they leave it in the same stock that they made their money. So to me, and having been in that situation where I've had 95% of our wealth in a single stock, every day is a roller coaster ride, and you're sort of cultivating an ulcer depending on what the market does. So that's pretty crazy. The second thing they do is they actually let it start leaking into their lifestyle. So that goes to your point, Anthony, where they start expanding sort of quickly and, you know, buying these depreciating assets, thinking, okay, now I got to sort of fuel the lifestyle. And especially in the Bay Area, the biggest challenge is they start getting too much house. So they actually need the equity to fuel the mortgage, right? It's a big risk. And the third thing is that they turn it over to people that they're never sure whether they have their best interest in mind. And the unfortunate thing is, you know, below a $10 million net worth, a lot of the, what I call fast food wealth advisors, they're really just going to, you know, take 2 percentage points of what you have and they're going to just stuff you in some index funds. And they're never going to figure out, like they don't figure out till it's too late. And this is a group of my investors who are saying like, wait, what was taught to me before of I go from stock and I go to bonds for income. There's no income in bonds anymore. It's gone. So where do I go? And the thing is these fast food wealth advisors, they don't have the ability to bring forward any type of alternative investment. So this is where I think everything that we're doing here, I think about you, Anthony, Vinky, Adam, like to your point, like people need us. Like we need to get this message far and wide. And this is why I love, you know, connecting with Adam and people in this broader network, because we are more than anything trying to serve and trying to help.
First time hearing I think you said fast food advisors.
Fast food wealth advisors, yeah.
That's
what I call them, because I mean, in essence, I mean they got a very limited menu, and all this stuff is really not that good for you, right? And if you wanted to do it, if you wanted a hamburger, like you could actually do it much cheaper at home. And it's true. Like it's like if you want an index fund, go get one from Vanguard, right? Go be a bogglehead, right? It's there for you. It's super easy.
Love it. Great. I mean, fantastic insight, Christopher. It's interesting how you've identified those. Have you, in your book, did you kind of paint out the 3 different types of individuals in regards to that experience?
I mean, this is all, I mean, I'm telling you, like, this is again, the playbook, and this is part of the message that I'm trying to get out there. And that's actually a little bit more of like the second book, which is like, once you actually go through the IPO, is how do you actually, you know, how do you actually defend against that? Like the first thing, and I was literally on a call with a guy a week ago who just exited his company, and he just called me up just so that we could talk about his emotions, because he was feeling like, and you know, you oscillate between this joy and this anxiety very quickly. And I think that understanding that, and for me, the big relief was being able to talk to a friend and hear that like, that's normal, like that's okay. Because I think the first time when you think that you should be feeling joy and you don't feel that, you think that something is wrong with you. But the reality is that you've just been given this great responsibility. You may not know what to do with it. And so you're trying to figure out, how do you deal with this brand new responsibility, right? More money, more problems. And so anyway, but that's going to be more in the second book. The first book, I'm trying to actually show people, you know, like what is the way, and how do you actually think of yourself as an asset, you know, that's constantly depreciating, that you need to appreciate, and how do you actually pick the right companies? Because that's one of the things I see, like being in the businesses, people, you know, and this was my experience too, is I went from a great company, a great experience, and I was burnt out. And I made a very emotional decision, and I ended up in a company going nowhere, working for a bad boss, cultivating a huge ulcer. And I was physically in pain until and this was actually the impetus for this book and this whole program, was I realized like I made a poor investment and I wasn't moving towards joy in a decision. I was moving away from fear, and I had to become aware of that. You know, because we all know as we're talking a lot with people and how they manage money, like there is a big emotional aspect to this business.
Mhm.
Hey, man. I
You-
know.
you said
so I'm
something-
Sure, go ahead.
I wanted to acknowledge this because I think it's a really cool concept that people don't think about enough, which is that you are an asset, and you are either an appreciating asset or a depreciating asset. You can't be a static asset. And so you got to make that choice. You're either the car that just lost, 33% of its value the moment it drove off the lot, or you are that cash flowing asset that's putting money back into your own pocket. So I love that idea.
100%. Were you going to say something, Vinky? I think I did. I saw you.
Yeah, I was going to ask you a question because I know your vision is very big, and then you're trying to connect the dots at the very high level or a bigger level, I would say. Would you think, the corporate America, do they contribute in this? Like they have kind of pigeonhole kind of mentality, and people that, especially the tech force, they do not have the holistic picture, they're just working in their small area or doing the pieces of the thing without actually connecting the dots or trying to understand the whole puzzle that they're part of. So you think that contributes to this mindset that they do not recognize who they are or what kind of asset they have, and they can leverage that?
100%, 100%, Vinky. That's a phenomenal observation, because part of this is it has to also go into how people are able to negotiate for equity. And so let me walk you through this, right? Is essentially people need to understand that they're the asset, and they need to actually be able to understand how what they're doing contributes to the larger picture, because it's truly that contribution that companies want to invest in, right? If I know that Vinky can come here and she can run my IT department and she can effectively manage me and help me get through an IPO, that's of huge value to me. But you have to be able to describe what you do with that lens of the big picture. And that's really what I call the career capital, which is your education, experience, and results, right? Is how do you actually then be able to talk about what you do? And this is what I talk about in the first book, is how you tell your story and creating emotional resonance is critical, because you're in a negotiation. You're in a negotiation. And if and I always think of like Pawn Stars and all these things, like somebody brings in something, you're like, that doesn't look amazing. They tell this story and then they're negotiating for thousands of dollars, because the story brings to light how valuable this thing really is. And this is truly the way that people need to think. And it goes to exactly your point, Vinky, is if you don't understand the role that you're playing and how it contributes to, how are you contributing to revenue? How are you changing the product? How are you helping move the company forward? If you're not able to describe that in the midst of this negotiation, then you're going to be deemed commodity and not rare and valuable. And that's truly what I'm trying to teach in this first book, is how do you actually teach yourself as rare and valuable and see yourself as that asset that, I need investment. Like I want to take a course on X. I want to understand that. And then it goes to, and I think Anthony, is we're talking, even as you think about, becoming a passive investor, how do I invest in myself? Because the better investor I am in passive income, guess what? You'll actually become a better business person, right? Too. And you'll actually make better choices in the companies you spend your time in, because you're going to be wanting to look at financial documents. You're going to want to understand how healthy this company is.
So another thought I'm gonna throw out there is just like, you think why people have those so limited vision, just because they are most of them are on the survival mode, because they just kind of a regular kind of, like you say, hamster on a wheel kind of thing, day in, day out, day in, day out. It's not necessarily, understanding who they truly are to get out of that survival mode and do something bigger and better.
That's a great point, Vinky. And I'm going to have to, Adam, I only had 30 minutes, so I'm going to put a bow on this right now, but I love this conversation. I would be happy to hang out with this group again, because like I'm grooving with everybody here. Like I would love to be an hour and a half and just like mind meld. This is so cool.
Yeah, we'll wind it down. If you got to go, Christopher, that's fine. Vinky has a podcast.
I want to answer Vinky's
Oh,
question.
okay. She's got a podcast on mindset, so I'm just saying she's got to have you on there.
Oh,
So.
I would love to have you. Yes.
I'm ready. I'm ready to roll. But so the mindset is this, and this is where, like, I broke it down from my experience, and as I'm surveying people, is everybody is so focused when you graduate from college, you've made this investment in your education, and you really want, like, where's the first investment that I make? And what I see happening, the trend is that people then get into a mode where they get, like, and this to me goes into the technology culture, where they start getting burned out, and they don't understand that if I don't have a process of how I analyze and I think about what's next for me, because I'm truly having a analytical, thought out plan with data that's driving where I go next, what happens is it goes to your point, whether it's a survival mode. And I think part of that survival mode comes from you get burnt out. And I can tell my story, like, I was on the road and I was, traveling, domestically, globally, feeling disassociated, and I just wanted something different. So I moved to what I thought was better, but I didn't realize that I wasn't moving towards joy. I was moving away from fear. And I think that's a lot of people, that's the mindset, is that they don't understand that they're afraid that this thing they're on will continue forever. We don't know how to have conversations about the burnout. It's real, and we have to be able to recover from that and to be able to manage that. And then the other thing is I feel like my purpose changed when I focused on the fact that I want to start building out passive investment, passive income, to have this other thing that's more important than my W-2 job, that then I can rely on for a sabbatical, for a break, for something like that too. I think that what we provide people, this passive, income portfolio, can then become something that's more important than just the W-2.
Nice. Thank you.
Mic drop.
That was
Well,
really
Christopher, thank you so much. You got to bounce. And Anthony and Vinky, if you guys got a few more minutes, you want to keep going, let me know.
See you guys.
Yeah, I've got a couple more minutes. If we want to keep driving, I got about 15.
Yeah, that's cool. We'll go for another 15 minutes. And we have someone else from our community at ASIM. He went through the mentorship program, John Paniagua. I sent him an invite. I didn't think he was going to show up, but he's pinging in now. So we'll get a speed round with John, and then we'll wrap it up. In the meantime, though, did you guys have any other feedback right now?
I actually have another call, so I'm gonna be leaving in a couple more minutes.
Okay. Yeah, we can go for another 10 here. John, happy to have you with us. We've been going for about 30 minutes, but happy to see your name come through.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was tied up in an RIA meeting, so because I'm creating an RIA. I have my partner here, and then we're also going to create a separate fund. So I've been incredibly busy. I figured let me just hop on for 10, 15 minutes just to get.
All good.
Just
Are you able to turn your mic or your camera on?
Yeah, hold on.
Okay, awesome. There he is.
How's that?
All right. We just had. Did you ever meet Christopher Nelson? Went through the mentorship program?
No.
Okay, he's out of Austin. He was just on. He had to hop off. We're getting ready to wrap things up here, but I got some other good friends of mine, Vinky Lumba here. Vinky's out of San Francisco, just closed on a deal in Georgia. She's got 334 doors under management, I want to say. And then nice. Anthony, actually, I don't know your total stats, but Anthony is quite the beast himself. I don't know if you want to give the one-liner for your bio, Anthony.
I buy buildings.
John's out of New York. Anthony's out of Minnesota. Vinky's in San Francisco. I'm all the way over here on the real East Coast. So.
Yeah, that's dynamite, because what I'm some of the things we're planning to do is I'm building out a sponsor network for the fund. So I'm looking to get the fund up and running probably within the next month. And then and then also bring investors on board. So I'm going to be looking for deals. So I'm building both the investor side and the sponsor side network. So it's taking a little bit of time, but any solid deals. And I'm looking at, besides multifamily now.
Specifically markets and what kind of, just give us some more details here.
Who, me? Anything outside New York. Outside New York and the coastal area. So I've been looking in Virginia, Georgia, um, Alabama, Tennessee, some of the markets there, Iowa, Texas, those are, anything, Phoenix. So Oklahoma is another one. I just keep rounding these out. But to me, also now I'm looking into industrial deals, triple net leases. I finally understand what that is,
Mhm.
and also and also storage. So like I said, this whole thing is a learning process. I by no means profess I'm an expert, no way. So I'm just, like I said, learning, building, and networking.
Cool. So yeah, Anthony and Vinky, how soon do you have to bounce?
Sorry.
I've got about another 5 minutes or so.
Okay, cool. Let's do it. Speed
quickly.
round. So, I mean, I kind of want to just give the platform to you guys, Vinky and Anthony, kind of grab the mic, whoever wants to go first. I don't know if there's anything, John shared, that you want to reiterate or anything on your mind that you wanted to get out of here before we close it.
I'm curious what's so Vinky, for you thinking about this last year, you said that you're fairly new to multifamily within the last, say, 2 years. I assume you started like an education prior to buying that first property. What was it that turned you on to real estate in particular?
Actually, I was a commercial broker in my previous life with my W-2 for 4 or 5 years, but I could not keep up the 2 full-time jobs because commercial broker is a full-time job as well, very demanding. So I put it on the back burner. So about 4 years ago, my W-2 kind of was eliminated because they moved to New York. I was with Bank of America. So they asked me to either move or just find something compatible. And I couldn't find anything. I decided to take the early retirement package because I was fully vested with my age and service. I had 23 years of service. So which gave me like good platform, right, to get off W-2 and start something new. So I landed back into real estate and was trying to find what should I do. Wanted to not go back into the brokerage, but I wanted to do the merger and acquisitions because I went through so many mergers during my corporate America job. And I knew the system side merger, didn't know much about the broker side, wanted to learn the business side and the broker side of the merger. But by the time I just stumbled upon multifamily because I saw one of my, I would say, colleagues or coworkers. I just saw his portfolio on the LinkedIn. He put the portfolio 400 some million or whatever. So that kind of triggered me. I'm like, oh, what's going on with him? Let me figure out. And I really liked what he was doing. So that's how I got started. Then I found out that one of my good friends, Vinny Chopra, he's in the similar space as well. So I'm like, wow, this is so interesting. So I reached out to him and I said, I wanted to learn this. I wanted to just wanted to be part of this bigger pie, wanted to get a piece of this bigger pie. And that's how I ended up here.
Yeah. John, what was the light bulb moment for you?
It was in 2017. No, actually 2018.
We got to say, John's got like a crazy like space background too. He used to work for NASA and all kinds of things. And
Yeah.
Anthony used to write space fiction novels, and then John used to actually do space stuff.
Yeah, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Yeah. No, the light bulb went on when pretty much after flipping a house, the house I had. It was in 2018. I got to see Grant Cardone. I didn't even know who he was at a conference in Las Vegas. I went there for a vacation. Actually, I went there for a conference for another reason. And then he mentioned about, so I said, who is this guy? I had no idea he had a real estate background. At the time, he had 4,000 units, but I read an interesting article in Business Insider, and I think it was also in Forbes that he wrote, where he steps through the process of why multifamily syndications of investments are really, cash cows. And then the light bulb went off in my head. I mean, if you look at it, it's just in terms of, the deal drives it. So you do have to find really, really good deals. So, I educated myself on that, on the multifamily side, and that was it. And then last year, despite COVID last year, I was able to join partner on 3 deals, over 100 units each. Look at it, but I'm stopping, like right now, I'm focusing now on the capital raise side. And I'm doing it on two fronts, one through an RIA and the other through a fund itself. So, and then and I'm working with others on the fund. So that's going to be up and running soon, finally, getting all the paperwork done. And so, but anyway, it's been an eye-opening experience, but definitely multifamily investments is the way to go.
That's true. And I would love to touch base with you, John, because I'm looking to have some fun too someday.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. I could teach you. I could
I'll-
share you with what I've done.
That'd be super awesome. Thanks.
Like I said, I'm learning this. Like I said, I'm by no means I'm not even like I've done a ton of podcasts, but I don't run a podcast yet. I don't feel I have enough experience, to be able to do that. But being on a podcast, I have no problem. You can share everything I've gone through.
Yeah, maybe you can be on my podcast as well. I do have one podcast, so I'd love to have you on that as
Sure.
well. Yeah,
Sure.
because and then think I see you said a very good thing that you're learning. Everybody's learning, right? Every day is a new learning. And I just feel like if I don't learn something new, that day is wasted for me. I wanted to learn something new, at least one thing every day.
Yeah. No, yeah. I always say besides learning, just action items, because I've been, and like I said, once I can, leave the W-2 job, because I still work at the exchange full time. Once I leave that, that's really, my 100-hour work weeks will drop to 80. But I prefer doing 80 for myself, than like 100 for others. So
There it is. All right, we're gonna let everyone get to their to their next round of calls. We'll go Anthony, Vinky, and John in that order. Just best way for anyone tuned in to follow up and get in touch with you. And then Anthony, I know you haven't said anything in a while too, so I didn't know if you wanted to chime anything else.
Oh, I'm good. I like to sit quietly and listen. You guys have such cool stories, so I enjoy it. Yeah, if you want to get in touch with me, find me over at invictusmultifamily.com. Otherwise, we have a podcast that's called Multifamily Investing Made Simple, and we just take the complexity out of real estate so that you can start taking action. I think a lot of people, they feel overwhelmed and a little afraid when they think about investing in big real estate, and it doesn't have to be. It's not easy by any means, but it's relatively simple. So stop by, and you can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Love to chat.
great. I definitely will. I'll reach out to you.
Vinky.
Very nice. Yeah, if you like to reach out to me, my website, lumbainvest.com. I'm also on the social media on Facebook, LinkedIn, just by my name, Google me, Vinky Lumba, and love to connect with you and love to help you, anybody, or educate you, whatever you need to know about the multifamily, at least whatever knowledge I have, I'd love to share with anybody.
Sure. All right, John, go ahead and close us out.
Yeah, you can reach me at a couple of ways. One is info at www.onewayholdingsllc.com, or my personal email, jpanya@yahoo.com. And then, like I said, once you do that, I can share my cell phone. I'm reachable most of the, well, at least if I'm very busy, I'll definitely get back to you. But definitely my line's open for anybody.
There it is. And yeah, guys, I'll make sure, Anthony, Vinky, John, and Christopher, who was with us, I'll make sure I get all of us connected and get the replay on your hands. If you guys want to reshare this replay, please do whatever the heck you want with it. That's the whole purpose of it. So, and Christopher's website is wealthword.com. I know you can reach him that way. That's wealthword.com. If you like what you heard from me, I'll say go ahead and check out carswell.io. That's my last name, carswell.io. We've got all kinds of fun things going on over there. So, okay, thank you for investing your most valuable resource with us here today, your time on this next level pop-up. You never know when the next one's going to be. That's why it's a next level pop-up. So we will catch you in the next one. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and have a great day.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Nice meeting